Whenever you worship God, He reveals to you what is in His heart. Today, as I was worshiping the Lord, He revealed something that was in His heart, and I felt it's important for me to share because when the Lord reveals it, He may not necessarily tell you to share, but if it is something that bothers Him and you are concerned, or at least as someone close to God, you feel the pain that God feels, then you are naturally going to feel pushed to do something about it. And this is basically what I want to talk about today. So, in the middle of worshiping God, the Lord gave me sort of opened some door for me to understand what is in His heart and what is bothering Him. You see, more of just allowing you to know what is in the heart of God. So, of course, the heart of God is very complex, and there are so many things that happen in the heart of God. So, whatever God chooses to reveal to you or allow you to feel that is in His heart is just what He has allowed to let you feel at that particular point. So, I don't want to go into the many complexities of how the heart of God is, and it's a whole mystery. But I'll not go into that. I'll just share what the Lord allowed me to actually experience. Now, basically, anytime you pray or anytime you worship God and get very close to Him, He's always going to reveal what is in His heart to you because at that point you are His friend. At that point you are very close to Him, and so He feels comfortable to reveal those things to you. And you see, the closer you are to God, the deeper the things He will reveal to you. There are things that God will not reveal to any random person. He knows how close you are to Him, how much He can trust you, and that determines how much He can reveal to you. So today, in the middle of worshiping the Lord, there was this question that popped up. And that was the question which you have seen in the title, where people ask, why did God allow my marriage to break? And you see, this is a difficult question. It's a very difficult question. Because, like, what the Lord was showing to me is that there were people who are asking that question, and those people are asking with a lot of anger. Like, it's literal anger. Like, you can feel the fire of that anger when they are asking God, why did you allow my marriage to break? And God was basically just quiet. He was just seated doing nothing as those people were asking. So, of course, when I saw that, when the Lord revealed to me that, of course, I was concerned about this situation. That's why I decided to talk about it, at least do something about it. This is my sort of little contribution to this matter to try and get it to be better than what it is at the moment. So these people were approaching God with a lot of anger. They were sort of yelling with a lot of bitterness and a lot of anger, asking God why He allowed their marriages to break. And God was basically silent. So, of course, I was concerned what is going on in God's mind, or like what is going on in the heart of God when these people are coming with all these questions. Now, basically, the response that God had in His heart, it was very simple. He did not speak the response. It was just what was in His heart because that is what He revealed, at least to me, to feel it and to know it. And basically, He was saying, it is not wise to ask such questions. So basically, that was what was in the heart of God, but God did not even speak. It was just what was in His heart. And you see, he helped me understand why to him it's not important, like it's not wise for people to ask these questions. And this is because God has never done any wrong. Like, there is no fault that God has done. The fact that a marriage broke, or like your marriage broke, really doesn't mean that God did anything wrong. God has never done anything wrong. He has done everything perfect from the first day of creation to this day. Not even a single time has God done anything wrong. So you see, when people approach Him with that level of anger, or when you approach God with that level of anger, basically God is surprised. You see, like that there is that sort of question of what wrong have I done? So when people are coming with a lot of anger because their marriages have like broken, and they feel like it's God who allowed those marriages to break for one reason or another, God is basically asking that question of like, what wrong did I do? What was my input in that marriage breaking? God doesn't break marriages. So he's like, why are these people coming to me, accusing me, or wanting reasons why I allowed their marriages to break? Now, the thing is, some people will defend themselves and say, we are not accusing God for breaking our marriage. We are asking, why did he allow our marriages to break? You see, there are two different things. As much as they may look, they may be very closely related, but they are two different things. Now, to those people who say we are not coming to God to accuse him for breaking our marriage, we are basically asking him, why did he allow it to happen? Now, the Lord asks, like in response to that, the Lord asks and says, why do you want to break the marriage I have with you? Because you see, when people come to him with anger, like wondering why God allowed their like physical marriage break, then in the process of that anger and the sort of bitterness that they have within them, they are now putting the marriage they have with Christ on the brink of breaking. And so that's why God is asking them, why do you want to break the marriage I have with you? So you see, one marriage is already broken, but now why do you want even to break another marriage on top of the previous one that was already broken? And so that's why God says it is not wise to have that sort of, like to ask that kind of question. It is not wise to come with that level of anger. And so these people, before you see, like many times when people, if you have had a marriage that broke and you have the bitterness and you are asking questions of why did God allow this to happen, God is typically not going to speak to you, or like he may not reveal to you what is in his heart concerning your situation. But you see, for someone who is neutral, like at least in my case, that is what God saw it fit to reveal to me, because at least for me, I don't have that sort of anger towards him. I have a fruitful and beautiful marriage that God has given to me. So, but at least when he reveals to me, at least I can share with you what is in God's heart. And you see, God himself may not want to share directly with you what is in his heart, because he knows why. He is God, he knows what is better. So that's why he will choose to give it to his servant to see his heart and go forth and actually share what is in his heart for the people. Now, the thing that like what the Lord would desire that someone will do if they feel like God allowed their marriage to break. Basically, God is requiring you to uphold a lifestyle of holiness, purity, and righteousness. Now, I know this is nowhere related to solving that kind of problem, because as human beings, we may expect God to give us something concrete to, or like some concrete reason why things happen the way they happen. But you see, the thing is that anytime God is telling you something completely different, or like whenever you pray to God and ask God, or like whenever God speaks to you and the answer he is giving you is completely different from the thing that you asked him, it's usually because he doesn't want you to think about that particular thing. He wants you to discard that particular thing and stop analyzing or stop trying to understand that particular matter. And the Lord does this for a very good reason. One is usually because it's either because that matter, there is something like the answer is that you are foolish. And sometimes God doesn't want to tell you you are foolish, so he chooses to keep quiet. So he wants you to get away from that matter. So when the Lord says it is not wise to ask those questions, in hindsight, it is like God is actually saying that you are foolish for asking that question. But because God dwells on the positive, he will not tell you you are foolish. He will try as much as possible to just highlight that you are not wise, which of course means you are actually foolish. Now, he may not want to point out your foolishness. That's why he will just want to avoid that whole matter completely. Now, that is usually one of the reasons why God may not answer you when you ask him this kind of difficult question of why did you allow my marriage to break? So the moment you realize that God is dissuading you from that matter without even mentioning the slightest hint of what you should do about that matter, is simply because you are asking something that is foolish and he wants you to get away from it. Now, the second reason why God keeps quiet, or he may give you an answer that is completely unrelated to the question you have asked him, is simply because the explanation is too complex. Now, the occurrences that we see typically as human beings, we see them in real time. You see something happening here and now. But you see that thing, there is a chain of events that preceded it for it to come and happen here and now. And you see that chain of events may just be things that are just too long and too complex, and God doesn't want to go into those details of how those things came to be. Think of the case of someone like Job. When Job was asking God questions, basically God began responding to him by a number of questions, asking Job to, if he can understand some of the chain of events that happen, like things that are like basically beyond him, things that God has done. So God was just trying to highlight to Job and bring him to know that even if I was to give you reasons, like, will you even understand them? Because if you can't even understand basic things that I do, how will you now even understand this more complex thing that you are asking me to explain to you? And God knows the capacity of your mind, so he doesn't want to go into that direction. So that's why he chooses to just avoid it completely. If you press him too much with that question, of course, that's when he will respond to you the way he responded to Job, by asking you counter questions to try and just bring you to the attention that the things that you are asking for, the explanation you are demanding from him, is a lot more complex than you can actually bear. So there is no point of God actually explaining it to you. Now, the other reason, the third reason why you may ask God a question, why did you allow my marriage to break, and he keeps quiet, or he tells you to do something that is completely unrelated, is simply because you are a human being and God is God. Now, this is the thing. God has the right to speak or remain silent. Like, just like the way he has given us free will, we can choose whether to speak or keep quiet. When people are arrested, sometimes people keep quiet because they don't want to speak things that will be used against them. And you see, they like the fact that we have lips, or like we have mouths that can actually close and say nothing, like we have the ability to close our mouths, already tells us that speaking or keeping quiet is within our will. So likewise, God also has the freedom to speak or keep quiet. So sometimes God just chooses to keep quiet because that is what he sees fit. That's what he has chosen to do. As God, he chooses to just keep quiet and do nothing. So you see, those are like the three main things that are going to be happening when you ask God a question and you feel like he has not answered you. So when God says maintain a lifestyle of righteousness, purity, and holiness, basically he is telling you that, one, a mess has already happened, things have gone wrong, but there is still hope, because at least you still have like your marriage with me intact, because we are married to Jesus Christ. So at least our marriage, or like your marriage with Jesus Christ, is still intact. So don't destroy your second marriage as well, because if you do, then it will be total destruction. Now you will like not only lose your earthly marriage, but you'll also lose your eternal marriage. And of course, that's now like the worst decision that you can make. So when God is dissuading you from the anger and dissuading you from dwelling on that matter, yield to him, as difficult and as painful as it might be, and without any sort of concrete answers to go by. God wants you to accept and do as he is actually asking you to do. So what God requires of you is just to maintain a lifestyle of holiness, uprightness, and righteousness. And the moment you do that, basically God will give you the peace that is necessary. He will bring to you the healing that is necessary. He will work on your heart so that you get over the pain and the betrayal that you felt, and the many questions that you had concerning the marriage that you had that actually broke, and so that you will not ask God these kind of questions. So basically, that is what the Lord revealed to me. And of course, I do understand that this is not an easy thing to get over. I have spoken theoretically based on what the Lord revealed to me, but I know it might still be a bit difficult for you to get over that matter if at all you had a marriage that actually broke. And for that reason, of course, you are welcome to book a meeting with me. I can at least help you pray to God, and at least help you walk through this journey of overcoming the like broken marriage and the anger that maybe came from there, so that you can build your relationship with God and do as God requires of you. And then from there, of course, at least you will save the marriage that you have with God, and stop dwelling on the past things that have happened the way they have happened, and many of their complexities that come with them. Okay, so that was basically what the Lord put in my heart to share with you today. I hope it is a blessing, and I hope you are in a much better position, and at least you have an answer to maybe something that might have been bothering you for the longest time. So that is it for today. God bless you.